Yeah. You rocking with your boy TheCzarr, all rights reserved. CommenterNation, stand up. Let's talk about this quickly. And soon you're going to see a change in the format of the videos and different things because I got some new stuff that I'm going to implement. But let's conversate about a point that I see talked about a lot. Now, what's being said is that the individuals that were outside Riva Motorsports, it was their body stature, their body makeup that made them interrogate and arrest these people, which is very odd because you don't see a face, and who can look at a body, let alone another man's body, and equate it to looking exactly the same? Then they said the sneakers. Well, how come that's not what was used in the bill of information and DNA was required if you saw synonymous sneakers? And how'd you get a hold of those sneakers if you didn't go to the houses until around the same time you were asking for the DNA because you went on a manhunt and you found vital evidence at one of the suspects' house? Here's another thing that bothers me, and it was mentioned earlier by commenters. You guys can chime in and let me know your thoughts. What was going on with the factor dealing with the fact that when we saw that they walked into the store, he looked concerned? I would agree. He looked concerned because he stepped over, he looked at their backs and kind of looked at the door like, what are these guys doing here? Yes, I agree with that point. And something else that I wanted to put out about that very point is that we didn't see the same concern on the individual's face he was with. And someone else alleged that they saw some type of hand movement between suspects and the person he was with. That was all alleged. I myself cannot confirm nor deny it, but I can say that I don't really understand where they got that part from. Maybe there's something I didn't see. So yes, that is concerning. Looking at the fact that body makeup and structure is being used to define these four men, couldn't the same body makeup and structure be synonymous with another person we seen talking around the scene? I mean, isn't this all how that type of stuff works? Like, where was the communication going on from the inside outside? They just made a lot of connections that can no longer be verified, in my opinion. I don't believe that. I don't see it. Even if you're going to release in a report about body makeup and things, how has that ever been a defining factor to identify a masked man? For all we know, there could have been a Caucasian man under the mask. How am I saying that this person was undoubtedly black? Like, how can I even do that? But moving forward, what are your thoughts about the communication points that people are bringing out? Another thing about that very scene, why is it that I didn't see an entire video, yet I saw a video showing the inside of when they entered and the outside of the robbery, but none of the corroborating things that we saw on social media? I mean, that's something that can't be dropped. The amount of people, the photos that were shown after death, why weren't these people shown where they should be? So I want someone who is of power, of knowledge, to hop in here and tell me, please tell me how these guys escaped being interrogated in any way, shape, or form. How do I go on social media posting death photos, breaking the news to get my followers, but I'm not interrogated then? Not only am I not interrogated, I go on for months talking about it online until someone, as myself, addresses you on it, and then you say you're not there and all is well. How does that happen? Because I am very confused at how someone like that slid out of it. What was the game plan? How did they play into the plan? That's the only thing I could think. How did he play into the plan that he was allowed to do this for months when you were hard at work looking for evidence, but you were able to figure out a manhunt to grab 4 random men that you somehow figured out may have been doing that? The ones on the video, then you took 2 that fit the body structure. Unless you're saying one of these men told, that's the only way I can understand it, which I can't even deny or confirm that point. You see how there's a lot of mix-up in how it's easily that they missed the mastermind, but being who they're recently questioning and how they're going about the persons of interest, it seems more on point with justifications dealing around the person. Now, that's why I brought this up. And again, how is his phone missing? How? I don't understand that. Like, why isn't there a phone? You would see who he last spoke with, who he was talking to, how he was talking to him. Do you see how this is a problem? That you want DNA after the fact of finding evidence like a month later, which doesn't make any sense at all. When you should have collected it on inbound of bringing these prisoners in, if you're saying they did such a heinous crime and you have the evidence for it. It's all playing around with minds. It's a mind game. It's a mind game. And it's making it like Clue. You guys ever play that game Clue? How they're using items to try to justify it, but not the normal items that someone would commit a crime with. For instance, where's the gunpowder residue? Where's any type of justification that's known for a murder? Where's the fingerprints that show that a person was holding the weapon? Do you guys even have the weapons? Do you guys even have the weapons? That's what I wanted to know. Now, you're saying that these guys fit the body structure, that everything bodily, and now you're asking for DNA. Do you have the weapons that were used in this crime? That's what I'm confused about. Because if you don't have no weapons, how are we even saying he was shot? That's confusing. And then with the size of his body and the guns being used, listen, that picture would have looked way more graphic. So what's the justification for certain points that aren't being disclosed? Is there a reason they're not being disclosed? How is there factors that's being talked about and being aimed at bringing justice or putting cuffs on someone when there's no justification around the whole scenario to say we have direct evidence? Oh, this is circumstantial evidence. It's like circumstantial and direct weren't panning out at first. But with this witness list, it's like you got over 10 direct witnesses. And none of them fit anyone who was talking about it in the first place. And the people who were justifiably sent out of the situation just happened to be people who were talking about it online. So how was that justified? Listen, the way you played this game, you allowed it to carry on online with a few people. But then when it starts getting addressed in a serious way online with people such as myself, you would like to play it off in court and run it through the system, but you can't do it that way now. Well, you can, but it's not going to work that way now, because you already, by you doing it online and letting these people talk about it, you already allowed someone to look and see all the faults. And being that I've become very aware of Florida law and the way that type of stuff works, I see even more faults. And that's why I told you from the beginning, something's not right on the inside for them to be able to do that. There was no justification for them to be able to beat past a situation like that. There just wasn't. There was no type of evidence that showed that they'd be able to avoid certain factors that have not come out. Now, even if I'm going to say that these suspects did match the body types, how did you undoubtedly identify the fact that Diedrich and Robert Allen walking in, even though he had on a concerned face, detailed the fact that they communicated outside? Could they not have waited till they seen him get in the car and then did what they did? Does that mean that Diedrich and Robert Allen had to be the ones that did it? Had to. How do we know the passenger didn't make a call? Because from one of the videos, I allegedly seen him on the phone. Seriously, I really did. From one of the videos, it looked like he was on the phone. Now, I could be wrong, but I'm alleging it's possible he was on the phone. So is that not taken into consideration? But you question everybody and let them go. Let me tell you something. In a recent situation that involved a gunman in Maryland, just in Maryland, everybody got taken to the precinct in buses to question about a rampage shooter. They were random people. Some of them were the ones shot. They brought everybody to the precinct to get questioned. How did you avoid running that type of operation? What was wrong with you doing it, especially when a murder occurred? Really? Now do you get why I say the inside allegedly isn't making sense? Everyone on the inside, that something had to happen on the inside to avoid taking these people in. A murder just happens and I send everyone home. What kind of sense does that make? It really doesn't make sense if you look at it. It really doesn't make sense. You're saying the body types match this person and that person. Like, who has some degree to read body types? Oh, his legs look like 11% muscle, and it looks like that guy. Like, you see how silly it is? It gets sillier the more we talk about it. And not that it's being mentioned, but the way this case is put together. So I'm going to ask this objectively. If anyone has any information to how they identify body types, and that there is someone who specializes in that, please let me know. I would like to see it. We onward. You know how I rock. All rights reserved.